Hello, everybody. Father Richard. I'm going to do a contest entry. Kenya. I'm going to do a contest entry for Sean. I think his channel name is Sean Cecilia by Sub Pop or some such nonsense. His channel name was Kim Gordon is Single. Before that, it was something else. Before that, he's one of them guys that changes his channel name a lot. I think his favorite format is 7 inches, and that's what he wants you to show. 7 inches are not my favorite format, but I do have 4 boxes of them. When I was a kid in the 60s, that was my favorite format, because you don't have that much money when you're a kid, and I'd buy Beatles, Loving Spoonful, Turtles, that kind of stuff. And as the 60s went on, I stopped buying the 45's and I started buying albums like Sgt. Pepper, Jimi Hendrix Experience. The album format took over. And I forgot about 7 inches. Probably until 1979. I started buying 7 inches again because I realized some of these punk bands that I was going to see at the Whiskey or wherever, they weren't going to release albums, I wish I would have realized that a couple of years earlier. Because some of those punk singles that came out in 77, 76, 78, man, they're worth a lot of money. But anyways, let's just get going. I'm going to show some classic picture sleeves. I like picture sleeves. And this is X, White Girl. Great picture of the band on the back. And this is on Slash Records, 1980. Gigantor by the Dickies. Fantastic band. This is one of my favorite bands in the 70s. Gigantor, what is it, Bowling with Barney? Yeah, Bowling with Bedrock Barney on the B-side. Now this next one is the very first, probably the first hardcore record ever released by the Middle Class. Side A has Out of Vogue and You Belong. And side B has Situations and Insurgents. This came out in 1978. It was recorded a little bit after the first Black Flag 7-inch, but Black Flags wasn't released until the year after. Now this next one is the best VCLT in the history of the VC, and it's Negative Approach. And Randall Weaver sent this my way on Touch and Go Records, and I will show it. It's the black and white label. Fantastic. If you don't believe me, this is the best VCLT that Randall Weaver sent me. Look this up on Discogs. The next one, a great 7-inch. It's the record's here. It's red, but I'm not going to show it. The Fabulous Mummies, Out of Our Tree, Tall Cool One. Here's a picture of them in the tree. I don't know if you can see it. I think this might be the Mummies' first 7-inch. I'm not sure. And we got the Muffs. I believe this might be their first 7-inch. Guilty and Right in the Eye. And it's on A Go-Go Records, an Australian label, red vinyl. I don't know if there's supposed to be a time limit on this. There's 3 ways to enter his contest. You can show 7 inches. If you don't like 7 inches, you can talk about a record, a classic record, and give it a thumbs down. But be serious about it. Or you can send them a mixtape. But the only stipulation with the mixtape or a mix CD is the 4th song has to be by Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, the Ramones, and there was a 4th band, but I forget. Now this next one, this one's for Mazzy. It's Phil Collins, One More Night. Now this is a great one. It's Neil from the Young Ones, Hole in My Shoe, an English show that I thought it was fantastic. These four guys that live together, and on most episodes a band would play a song, usually in their living room. But yeah, it's fantastic. Now this next single is by Dickless. It's I'm a Man. And I believe Sean may have been talking about this band in the comments. If not, it was that, oh, I can't remember his name, the guy that likes Black Flag. It might have been him. And he mentioned that I think this band only had 2 7-inches and a couple of songs on 7-inch comps. This is the Sub Pop 7-inch. And then they do have a song on this, along with Babes in Toyland, L7, Fright Wig, and Dickless. Now this next band, Channel 3, I've Got a Gun. This is an English, No Future Records. It's I've Got a Gun, Manazar, and Mannequin. 3 of their better songs. Now I saw this band only once, and they pretty much sucked. They were really drunk. And they didn't put on a very good set. And the other funny thing that I realized at that gig, I'm looking around, you know, I'm not really paying much attention to the band because they weren't really impressing me. And I'm just looking around, and I'm realizing I'm the oldest motherfucker here, you know. Fuck. I was probably like close to 30, you know, and everybody else was like 19, 20, 16, you know what I mean? So, as the 80s went on, I kind of stopped going to all ages gigs, and I started going more to Al's Bar and places like that. Happy Talk by Captain Sensible. Great picture of him in the back with a skirt, is it? Maybe a dress, you know? This guy was fantastic. I saw this band at Godzilla's. And Godzilla's was like a old bowling alley, I believe. And the other band that was playing there was TSOL. And they played in different rooms. And I saw The Damned at Godzilla's. And all the punk kids were complaining that, oh, The Damned, they sold out. Because the tickets were $10. I mean, I had a job in aerospace, you know, $10. The Gories, Detroit, or wherever. I mean, Dead Wax 66, he makes a big, oh no, they're not Detroit, they're Ann Arbor. For a California guy, whatever, you know, it's the same thing. And Dead Wax 66, talk about changing, now he's Freaks in the Garage. I'm going to still call him Dead Wax 66. I got 2 here from Hole. Dick Nell back with Burn in Black on Sub Pop, another Sub Pop. And I got one of theirs from Sympathy Sympathy for the Record Company, Record Industry. It's Hole. Now this one here, Death Cult. This was the first, I never heard of the Southern Death Cult, but I did buy this album, 7-inch, and I bought it based on the, you know, just the cover art. And one time, it was after me and my first wife separated, and I got custody of my daughter every other weekend, and she came over one weekend, and I had this record, you know, I used to have my stereo, and I had the records that I was playing, like, on the floor right there. And this one was in the front. And she came in, and she goes, Mickey Mouse died? Bless her heart, huh? Woohoo! That one came right out of the sleeve. That's fucking motherfucker. Now, this one here is probably the worst 7-inch that I own. It's Paul McCartney and Michael Jackson. Say, say, say. What a piece of shit. Now this is another popular song. It's by Yes, Owner of a Lonely Heart, from the 80s. I like the early Yes. Rick Wakeman kind of fucked it up for me. They do have a few albums with Rick Wakeman that are good, but in concert he was like over the top. He was horrible. But yeah, this was a good song. I have never heard the album though. It's supposedly good. And I got John Cougar Mellencamp, Pink Houses, great song. This guy's got some good songs. Probably some good albums. Oh man, a great punk band. The Iconoclasts. These guys were like fucking a lot of feedback and kind of noisy. Really cool picture on the back with these two kids. You know. Here's an East LA punk band. Los Illegals. And it's LA. My only 7-inch by this band, the Minutemen, Paranoid Time. Really cool front cover. Now this is another band. I don't know if I believe it was Sean that was talking about this band, because he does show a lot of 7-inches, and it's Olive Lawn. I believe this is a band out of Long Beach in Southern California. And I have another Olive Lawn. It's Cat's Farm, back with Moms. And there's a little picture of the band. You can't really see it. And I got one more by Olive Lawn. And on the back of this one, it's signed. It says, I hope you enjoy Hunger Farm, Mike Olson. And I got the Hunger Farm. Now this is a great. Now I'm going to show 3 more, and then we're done. This is three current bands. ISS, I don't know how you pronounce this shit. Out of North Carolina. This band is fantastic. La Luz, Brainwash, 7-inch. La Luz, love them, man. And we got the Stools out of Detroit. And this was released by Third Man Records. Third Man Records has been releasing some really cool Detroit shit. Anyways, that's it. That's my entry. I was going to do a vinyl finds, but I'm waiting for a personal grail in the mail. And I wasn't... I told myself... I ordered this a while back, dude. I don't think it's been quite a month, but it's getting close. And it's a domestic, so I don't know what's taking so long. And usually, a lot of times in my past, that's not a good sign. It might be sitting on the bottom of a bin with a fucking TV on top of it or some shit. But since then, I've ordered 2 more in the mail, and they haven't come either. One was because of Mazzy, and one was because of Dead Wax 66. Or I mean, Freaks in the Garage. Come on, man. Why do you keep changing your name, all you guys? Why do you keep changing your name, you know? I understand not everybody has a great name like Vinyl Richie, but come on.